Hello. As you can see, the bike is now finished. It's May 2018, and yeah, started it last September. So we'll do a quick rundown through the rest of the bike now as we're going. So had the main frame sprayed, and in January they started taking off the tape. It's all gunked up in the inside of the hubs there on the main crankcase. And yeah, there you can see the grind. And that was the fun part of wiping it all down. Enjoyed that, and all the parts then all gunked up, and just rinsing, cleaning paint thinner, Varsol, cleaned up amazingly, and re-greased everything and put it back together. So that's the crank. Gave it a bit of a polish, clean, and there you go. So that was the pedal crank done. Okay, so then the next day was in March, and the reason why this took so long was I had to spray paint the front fork and the other last chain guard, and of course I'm in an apartment, so I have to spray outside, and it being Canada, I had to wait until the winter was over and got a decent day. So in March there was some nice days and finally got around to working on the bike again, and here I was just taking off all the old handle grips and just shaving off the rubber that was stuck on there with a knife. And here the front forks and the chain guard, and then sanded those up and they're ready to be sprayed. So here we are the next day. I had in May, because between March and May it started, I think, snowing again, and it was ridiculous. You can see the condition of the seat, pretty nasty looking before. And I had sprayed it in March, the chain guard, and it wasn't that great. So you can see here, it looked a bit rough, so resanded it and took it out again in May. Resprayed. And the front fork as well had some drips on it, and so resanded those, and here they are again. It looks a lot better with the spray there in May. And got around to cleaning up the handlebars. Wasn't sure what was going on there, so ended up sanding it from 150 grit, getting all that gunk off, and then I think jumped up to 400, 800, and then my favorite is that polish. It's just amazing. Can't say enough how enjoyable it is, but I was really happy with how the handlebars came out because I was worried I'd have to replace those as well. And once that was done, then I was able to start assembling some things. So I put the seat post together and I was able to put in the front fork and tighten all that up. Everything re-greased, all the pieces that needed a cleaning, cleaned out, and starting to come together. Okay, so the next day I was able to put the handlebars on. You can see all the polished parts from the past, and the bike was starting to take shape. So at this point, somewhere around here, I ordered the bicycle tires, new tubes, hand grips for the handlebars, and once those came in, everything would be pretty much set. So you can see all the rear sprocket and brake. I'm just cleaning all that there. You can see my wash bucket little container. Washed them after the Varsol, and it was nice to see all the parts looking pretty good, and was pretty happy with how everything looked. Took some nice close-ups. Everything looked in good condition. It was just a matter of re-greasing everything and putting it back together in order. So had a mock-up on the piece of paper there of how it would look. Cleaned up the back brake bar, came out nice, looked half decent, and was able to reassemble the whole wheel together, and then started on truing the wheels. So my quick and simple way of truing them is I just put the wheel in the fork and I use a pair of vice grips, and you can put the vice grips on the on the fork there, and you can just have the nose of the pliers just barely touching on where you want it, and you can use that as your reference gauge. As you spin the wheel, you'll see how close it is. In the video, I'm not sure if I could have rotated it, but you can see that gap That's where you're rotating the forks to. So pretty good. Okay, so tires came in, everything finished up here in May now. So this is new tires, new tubes, handlebars, and I had ground down the spokes that were sticking out in the hub there. So that was all good. Here I took apart there, you can see the ball bearings, cleaned everything up. Again, re-greased, put it back together, and it was all good, nice and smooth. And it was just a matter of putting the tire back together. So the rear tire, front tire, putting on the rubber tube to protect against the spokes, and then putting on the actual tire, putting the new tube inside the tire, inflating it a bit, and then putting the other edge of the tire inside the rim there. Really simple, straightforward. No issues. The only issue was these white wall tires were very easy to pick up dirt, so that was a pain. Next day, we got both tires on there. It was time to tackle the bracket that holds the rear pedal brake going there. So you can see the bracket had snapped off at the top and was looking a bit rough. I'd already cleaned it up here just with a toothbrush and rinsed it off a bit and took some steel wool to it and then some sanding going up again, and then of course had to polish it and touched up the screw, and after that I was just bending it on, tightening it up, and then I thought I was all done and ready to put the pedals on and the handlebars, but then I realized that the pedals that I had got last year from the used place, they had a 9/16 bigger hole thread than the half-inch thread that's on my actual crank there, crank arm, so that sucked. So here are the new pedals I got pretty quick just from a local place. I didn't want to wait 2 weeks ordering something that looked more vintage, but these are good. So threw them on there and the bike is finished and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Trying to show the video of I'm not sure if it picked up how nice the paint came out even though it's just a spray can. But it's a really nice bike. It's surprisingly light and I didn't want to get the tires dirty, so I took a test drive down the hallway in my building here, and that was good. So everything's nice. It's pretty much like a brand new bike, and just going over everything. Everything's been redone, polished, cleaned. Got the new handlebar grips on. They were nice, nice and snug. And, just take a look at the whole bike. And just a couple of final shots of just different spots. Came out nice. And then we can see what the bike looked before. Pretty nasty, rough looking. And after. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, and if I followed from the start to beginning, hopefully found it as rewarding as I did. And hopefully I find this a nice owner and I can find something else to try and bring back to life. Thanks for watching and have a good one.